Hey folks, hope you guys are having a fantastic Wednesday. Welcome to the Fantasy Livewrite. I'm gonna write a book live. I also recorded this music, which you can find. I'll link the music channel if you like this kind of stuff. Kickstarter campaign is live and it's already funded in the first 24 hours. So that is also linked in the chat. You have a chance to grab a signed hardback, which is actually pretty rare for me because I don't do book signings. So if you want a signed book, this is an opportunity for that. Or you can just get the hardback by itself, which will should ship directly to you. I should be able to ship it directly from the printer. So that would be pretty convenient, I think, for most people. And then otherwise I can sign it and deliver it, mail it to you. So that'll be an option. I think those are half gone. So we have the rest of the next month to convince 25 more people that they might want a signed copy of the book. So you can go ahead and grab that. I have it linked. And met the funding goal despite there being actually a typo in the original ad copy here. It didn't say limited to 50 copies. It said limited, but people didn't notice the I. They just kind of filled in where the I was supposed to be. But yeah, my plan is to just have 50 of those. If we sell out and there's lots of people that are like, I really want a signed copy, maybe we'll expand it to like 75 or 100. But part of offering something of a limited quantity is that you really, or a limited time, is that you kind of have to fulfill that promise and not make like infinity of them, right? So for the Christmas collection, it's only available for the Christmas season. So I ended after January. You can't buy that Where is it? I have it right here. Oh man, it's $10. It's big. So you can only buy this during December. And so if I just said, hey, you can only get it during December, and I just let people continue buying it to try to maximize every dollar I make, then that's kind of breaking a promise to the people who bought it, thinking this is a limited time offer, which it is. So same idea. If there's a lot of demand, maybe I'll just talk to fans directly. Like, is it okay if I sign an extra 50? The other reason is that that's mailing more than 50 books. Mailing 50 separate packages is already a lot of work to me because I never go to the post office. So that will be quite a bit of work to mail 50 copies anyway. So, but I'm willing to mail extra if people really want that, you know. I heard the brain rarely reads the full word and only mostly the first and last words. I think that's true. You kind of fill in the gaps unless you're actually trying to decode what the word is. It's kind of an interesting idea there. So, and it's why we miss double words a lot. So if we're reading a manuscript and there's two ands in a row, your mind will just skip that, or there's like an and an is, your brain will read kind of the whole sentence and decode it and kind of leave out those articles and those extra little bits of words, and they won't show up as typographical errors for a lot of people. It's why it's really handy to have another person do proofreading, but even then another person will miss typos for that reason. Their brain will decode the sentence and they'll miss two ands or something like that. You know, they'll miss some extra superfluous word that's not supposed to be there because their brain knows that it's not there and it's not part of the intent, and it just kind of, it's like you don't see it. It's like you don't see it at all. It's kind of interesting. So anyway, let's see if I can, where's this document? Prince of Twilight. We have gotten to the final battle here. Okay. We're on chapter 27. We're at 112,000 words. So maybe we'll get to 115,000. Let's take a look at that, okay? I think it would be really great. Oh, this is not... What the heck is going on here? Oh, shoot, what happened here? There it is. Sorry, my screen was all misaligned here. It's like, what's going on? Let me get it back here. Okay. Yeah, here it is. All right. It's like the lower right hand corner. I have like a big monitor, big 4K monitor. It's like 4 HD monitors kind of in one thing. Have you tried Grok with the think option checked for proofreading? I have not. James Thrice says I'm self-taught literacy. That sounds true to me. Yeah, I have not tried it. I haven't done a whole lot of like testing out Grok to see what it can do. Grok told me earlier it can't do like photo composites. I was like, maybe it'll do a photo composite. It's like, no, I can't do that yet. It's like, okay, that would actually save so much time if you could be like, hey, can you just superimpose this person onto this photo for me and blend them? And it's like, boom, here you go. It's like, that's an hour of Photoshop work for you. It's like, oh man, that would save so much time. And invariably someone would complain about AI doing that too, right? Like I make a photo composite book cover. If I could have the AI be like, here's the images, make a photo composite out of it. And it's like, boom, here you go. And it's like, you took all the artistry out of it. It's like, I'm compositing a photo. I don't know how artistic it's supposed to be. Like I don't feel like making a photo book cover is a super artistic endeavor, but invariably someone will do that. This was a thing where like book designers were upset about AI book art, and it's like book designers, book cover designers. These aren't artists, but they call themselves artists, right? They do photo composite art for book covers, which is fine. You know, there's definitely a skill to that, but they only became upset about the AI when their job was threatened. When it's like, wait, authors can just do this for $5 instead of paying me $300. I don't like that, right? It's like, yeah, but you put real artists out of the job by charging $300 instead of $1,500. So where was the outrage that people were hiring Photoshop guys 15, 20 years ago instead of hiring artists to make oil paintings? There was no, you know, if the labor goes to another person, we don't get too upset. And it's the same thing with like DJs, for instance, at weddings. You used to see bands at weddings and musicians, and I used to play weddings a lot. What happened? Well, DJs are cheaper. I can also say DJs can please crowds more, believe it or not. And that's just because when people want to hear Beat It, they want to hear Beat It. You know, they want to hear Michael Jackson. They don't want to hear a cover version of Beat It. Like, people have been trained to want to hear things exactly. It's a problem at concerts too. You go to a concert, like you can go to a metal concert and the guys they're shit if they're not playing the album note for note. It's like, that's not what a live concert is supposed to be for me. That's not what I view a live concert, but I don't know. The tastes of crowds have changed. At the same time, they used to do can solos in the 40s. That was a thing, right? Because people wanted to hear what the record sounded like. They bought the record and they wanted to hear the record. Even back then, you know, most covers are free images anyway. Yeah, even if you're paying for the images, right? It's a stock photo of something, right? And if there's a stock photo model, yeah, she went to the effort of like photographing herself or having herself photographed. Yeah, maybe she deserves some money for that. Cool. But maybe I can pay her the money for the image and then have Grok like make the cover. Grok actually does really good like concept covers. I mean, we could test this out real quick. Let me head over to X. Because Grok will even like put the words on it in a stylized fashion. Here we go. Let's do Grok. Here's Grok. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see what it does. I've done a couple joke book covers for people this way, and they've come out okay. Like, you look at it and you're like, oh, that's a pretty good concept, and then you can go and do it another way. Now, the other thing is like trying to get it to be. It makes the woman pretty disfigured. These are just images. No, I didn't do the letters. What if we do something like this? Let's see what it does here. Have you tried the deep search and think option at all? I haven't yet. I haven't experimented with them. Yeah, I remember talking about that before, like concerts that change things up. If I want the same song, I'll play the CD at home. Instead, we have, we have Shrek and an Indian woman. It's pretty funny. I've gotten a couple good ones. It's not doing a good job today, but you sometimes you can get one that's like, it's a pretty good mock-up of what a photo cover would be, and then you can just go do that. Okay, get a forest in the back, get a night, and then paste them together and put your stylized text on top of it, right? So you can do that kind of stuff. Anyway, let's put that to the side here. And here's our book. Okay. Now we did this. Okay. All right. Where is this? All right, Edward's dead. Okay. Elon Spengler. That's funny. I liked the 2002. That's the one with who's in it? That actor. He was in Memento. It's good. I thought it was good. It also had Christopher Lloyd, I think, as a Morlock. I think that was a pretty good remake, actually. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I think it's underrated. It's also just not as appreciated as it ought to be. Guy Pearce, that's it. Thank you, Jared. He is a great actor. Apparently, Christopher Nolan wanted him to be Ra's Gould in Batman Begins, but that was stopped as some higher-ups at Warner Brothers didn't get Guy Pearce. I've always thought he was a great actor. He also has a certain look. I think he's a very good-looking actor. I think he has a commanding visual presence. You know, that kind of chiseled. He has that chiseled look. Even now, he's almost 60 now. Here's what he looks like, you know. He still has this, like, just this great definition to his face. You know, it's very balanced, very symmetrical. You know, he's a very good looking guy. He has a good smile too, right? That kind of lean and kind of sharp jawline. I think he looks better without the beard because it draws more in to the shape of the jaw. You kind of lose the jaw sometimes if you grow a big beard. I know because I have a beard. And I have a jaw. Yeah, that he has a really good visual presence versus like Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey's got this droopy face. Guy Pearce is like Very classically proportioned face. I think he's had some hair plugs though. It's fine. It's part of being in Hollywood, right? He's got a receding hairline in this picture. And yeah, I mean, we all start to lose our hair a little bit as we get older. Get a little taller forehead like me, right? It happens. Good looking guy. Iron Man 3's Mandarin, yeah. Guy Pearce is made up to look nerdy and ugly at the beginning of Iron Man 3. I haven't seen Iron Man 3 in a long time. That was, I'm trying to remember what happened in that one. Long time. I only ever watched it once. Most movies I only ever watch once, you know? Werner von Braun, the Mars Project. That was interesting. see folks talking up to the new Daredevil season on Disney Plus. They're using the same MCU is saved nonsense. Yes. Every time this happens, they're like, why aren't you watching Andor? Why are you watching Star Wars? Why are you still watching this stuff? You spent 5 years complaining about how bad it was and how you weren't going to watch it anymore, and you never stopped. You never stopped watching it. And that's, I realize this, I mean, we're coming up on 10 years since Force Awakens came out. And yeah, I don't see where people have any sort of legs to talk about this stuff anymore, right? If you hate it, why are you still watching it? The fact that they made 10 bad things in a row and the 11th one was okay. Why did you watch the 11th one? Why didn't you learn from the 10 bad things that came before it? And I realize there's a lot of consumers, especially like millennial Gen Y consumers, they have like a religious attachment to this stuff. They'll never get rid of it. They'll never stop watching Star Wars. They're always going to look to watch it. They're never going to stop watching it. Even The Acolyte, they'll talk about how bad The Acolyte is. Why did you watch it? You said you hated everything that came before this. Why are you watching it? I don't know. I was kind of hoping it'd be good. Right. You're never going to get the culture to effectively change from the bottom up if the bottom just refuses to ever stop eating slop. It's never going to happen. But that also gets me thinking. It's like the real way to change culture is to do what the lefties did to them, which is to seize control of the corporations and then make the art that you think people should watch. They understood that the corporation was a power base and that you could use it to do things such as change people's hearts and minds on various issues. Right? They understood that would be a way to make people change their behavior and change their speech patterns, if not their thought patterns. So you just have to do the same thing because it's clear that most people are never going to stop watching Star Wars. So at this point, I've kind of flipped backwards. I'm like, stop watching Star Wars because it's bad, right? It's time to move on to other things. There's a portion of people that aren't, and that portion is pretty big, I think. They're just never going to move on. So what would be better would be to, actually fire Kathleen Kennedy and put a better person in there and make Star Wars great again. Because they're never going to stop watching it. So you might as well try to make it good enough. You might as well try to make it good. It's crazy. It's crazy to me how much slop people will watch and not enjoy it. They haven't enjoyed anything in 10 years. And then like Andor comes out and they're like, it's okay. Or they'll say, I love it. It's great. And I'm like, how good is it compared to your favorite Star Wars movie? Oh, well, it's shit compared to that. Okay, then why are you watching it? It's like, you're glad that it's gruel instead of liquid shit. Like, your standards are so low. To be fair, even people who checked out the MCU entirely for years, including Razorfist, have been interested in the new Daredevil series in part because of the alleged course correction. Well, that's the thing. They still shouldn't be interested in it, right? They still shouldn't be. People haven't changed. It's the same people making it. You know that they're some episode in, they're going to do some sort of woke nonsense because they always do that. And then you're like, well, I like the rest of it. And it's like, as a critic, I can approach that and be like, okay, I don't think that I judge things according to all these standards that are set. And that means that even woke stuff is not irredeemably bad art and does some things very well. But if you hate it and you hate its message, then why are you watching it? It's that simple. And Razorfist is a huge Daredevil fan. Yeah, that's like one of his favorite things for sure. So you have to keep that in mind. Some people are more attached to certain things than others. I didn't play the last WoW expansion, which is really, really surprising to me when I look at it. I'm like, I've played every WoW expansion, even when they're bad, because my friends are playing. But for this one, it was like, no one's playing. So the last reason I had to play WoW, which was to do something with friends, and this happened with Dragonflight, is like, I didn't really play with my friends. They just weren't around to play with. They weren't playing, or they were on at different times, or they were doing their own thing, So what was I supposed to do? It was boring. It just becomes a boring solo game. Just like a pale shadow of what it was. They announced they were going to, have these 3 expansions to kind of close up the story. I'm like, why are you guys still playing? You hate every expansion. There's this cycle to World of Warcraft content that just goes on and on and on every single time. It's get hyped for the expansion. The expansion comes out. It's really good for 3 weeks because Blizzard is really good at making dungeon content. It's fun, right? Their dungeon content is good. But then you play through all that dungeon content, and then it's going to be a 12 months of complaining about how there's nothing to do in the game. 12 months of complaining about how Blizzard dropped the ball with Mythic Plus, dropped the ball with hard mode raids, dropped the ball with the lore, are messing up transmogs. There's like a million complaints and nothing good. So I've been seeing this for 10 years at this point, right? I've been seeing this since the end of MoP, the end of Mists of Pandaria. This complaint cycle. You get hyped, it's great for a month, then it's shit for 12 months or more, depending on how long it takes for them to get the next expansion out. Then you get hyped for that next expansion because they're going to solve all the problems. They're going to solve every problem you have with the game. And then you're really excited because it's a new shiny content, because you only play that one game, World of Warcraft. So shiny new content gets you excited. And then the game's bad 3 weeks into it because you cleared the content. And that's exactly what happened with Dragonflight. As I was like, people are like, Dragonflight's good. I'm like, Dragonflight is not good. Dragonflight is passable, right? It has dragon riding, which is taking flight, but making it annoying, right? Oh, well, you get to go faster. Yes, but it's annoying to have to actively control the character. Flying is still not content. Content is killing monsters and getting things and interacting with people in dungeons. So the flying wasn't content. It was just flying over the content. That was the whole point of flying, was you go over the content you don't want to do and go to the content you want to do. Well, it's just that, only you can't walk away. I can't put my character on auto run and go over and get something to drink, which is what I used to do back in the day. So and then of course people got bored with it 2 months into it, because what happened? You leveled up to whatever the level was, the level cap was. I don't remember right now what it was because they've reset the level cap at some point. 110 or something. So you level up to 110, and then what happens? You start gearing up for the first raid. Okay, so you just do the same crap. You do like Mythic 0 dungeons to get enough gear to do raid 1. As soon as I cleared raid 1, which I don't remember what it was called, I uninstalled the game. Because I'm like, okay, what do I have to look forward to? I've done normal mode, raid 1. So I can do heroic mode, raid 1. I can get into like a high level guild and spend all my time doing mythic raid 1. And I'll do that for 6 months or 8 months or however long it takes for them to come out with raid number 2. They come out with 3 raids in an expansion, typically. So then it's a raid 2 is a big gear reset. All the gear that you spent all that time getting, it gets you to be able to begin raid 2, not to do raid 2 or to finish it. And then you do the same thing. You start working through that. You're doing the same raid, 4 different levels: raid finder, normal, hard mode, mythic, for 6 months until they come out with another raid. Like at the meta level, like WoW has always been good at meta level stuff, right? Getting gear and like organizing a guild. But it's boring. Like that's really boring. Where it was really interesting at this point 20 years ago. I can't believe I can say that. But 20 years ago, World of Warcraft was the best game ever made. And it's still, if you were to play it 20 years ago, it's the best game ever made. So, but I don't know. I don't know why people do that. Maybe it's just it's the best option available. There's no other, like what other MMOs can you play that are good? There's Final Fantasy 14. Well, it's better than WoW in a lot of ways, and it's not as good in other ways, right? So it's a side grade at best. The story's better. The art is better. You know, the gameplay, there's more opportunity for more varied gameplay to do all the old content, yada, yada, yada. So the macro meta is a little bit better, but it's not like vanilla WoW was. Well, you could play on classic servers, and that is true. You can play on classic servers, but that's a solved game. It's not like playing when the game was fresh and they dropped AQ40 pre-nerf and everybody was like had a huge gut check because they couldn't clear, Princess Huhuran or whoever her name was, the poison boss. They couldn't clear this boss. It was like, oh, I have to go get poison gear and we have to work together. We had to work really hard to unlock the gates. We had to farm out Purple Lotus and someone got Scarab Lord and all that kind of stuff. Like, it was huge. The game was huge and was an amazing world back then. But now it's just everyone's focused on doing a raid, and I don't know why. Like, it's so boring to me to just focus on that raid for 6 months at a time. The MMO treadmill, Rumble, you're right. I haven't seen a Disney Star Wars entry since Last Jedi, and I feel dirty having seen that. Well, I went to see him so I could review him and make money, and that's fine. People will hopefully forgive me for that. The only Star Wars I watched was the first season of Visions, since that was done all by Anime Studios, and they did a good job. Then season 2 went and got Western Studios and woked it up. Yep. I really like the Batman Arkham games. I haven't played them in so long. I did not play Kill the Justice League just because it was in the Arkham verse and featured Kevin Conroy. I draw a line, yeah. I quit at Warlords. Warlords of Draenor. Warlords of Draenor could have been... It had the bones to be the best expansion. But they just kind of abandoned it halfway through development, right? Like, it had this great intro. It had all these amazing new zones that were beautiful and, like, these great dungeons. And then they just abandoned it. They went back on everything they did for the story. It was like alternate universe bullshit. And then they just abandoned it and went on to the next thing. It was really bad. Reading some of the BFA lore made me wistful since I loved the old god stuff, but watching cinematics was like, oh, no. Again, BFA was good. BFA was good. It was better than people realize because there was a lot more stuff to do in BFA. But it was the having to level up your armor was stupid. Got to max level and then got bored, much like the last 3 expansions. It's the same cycle. You get hyped, you do the leveling content, then I guess you work on the raid. But raids are so insignificant. They're significant, but they don't feel like a big arrival point like they did 20 years ago. They really don't at all. So I heard some good word of mouth about season 3 of Picard, but I'm not going to watch 2 seasons of Picard that are bad to watch a 3rd season of Picard, which is okay. Yeah, it showed how badly written it was despite not being woke. Yeah. Just because it's not woke doesn't mean it's good. There's a false dichotomy of like woke and therefore good, right? Just because something is not woke doesn't mean it's good. It can be very bad and be not woke and be very unwoke. I think his Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is the only good post-Endgame MCU movie. I haven't watched it. Yeah, the reason the like Force Awakens, for example, is bad is not because of the ideology that underpins the writing. It's because the writers are bad. Same thing with Last Jedi. Like, Rian Johnson is just a bad writer. He's just not good. Like, none of his movies are particularly well written. They have sometimes okay concepts, but they're not well written. Like, he has a good idea of like pacing and visual style, but not writing, not story. So. And I make that point to people and it just kind of goes over their head because they're so into this idea of like the elements of the culture war determining good and bad to such a great degree. They can't really see the forest for the trees. They're bad because they're incompetent as well as like bad politically. So they take the politics out of it. It's still bad. Why? Because they don't know how to write a story. Sorry, I'm ranting now. Rumble says, I had so much hope for Warlord. It seemed like a savage sort of Conan with orcs and ogres, but then they killed their most interesting villain off and, oh, it's demons again. Here you go. Yep. Pretty much that. I thought we were going to get like Grom Hellscream. They said Grom Hellscream was going to be the final boss. But people didn't like that. Like, well, we don't want to fight against orcs because I play orcs. Like, dude, come on. Yeah, they abandoned it to work on Legion, and Legion was the best expansion since Wrath of the Lich King. I disagree. I thought Legion was garbage, at least at the beginning, because I played it in beta, and I made a video about how garbage it was. I'm like, they had made the game so easy by Legion, it was just boring to play it. Legion visually was great, though. I will give them that. And the story was kind of okay. The end of Legion with like the Suramar was really good. That was really cool. Like visually great, cool stories. There was some really good stuff in Legion. But by the time I played the beta of Legion, and it was so boring, I couldn't stand it. Right? I got to level cap in the beta, and I was like, I'm not going to buy this game. And I'm going to tell everyone else not to buy it. You know? That was the last time I got invited to the beta. I was making a YouTube video telling people not to buy the expansion. And at that point, I was kind of over it. I was just like, you know, they're just going to... At least they actually went all the way through with the Legion expansion. And I picked it back up before BFA came out. And it was good. There was a lot of good stuff there. But, you know, the end part of the expansion I thought was good. But when it launched, I thought it was really bad. I didn't think it was good at all. And the main thing is that the world was too nerfed. The world was so nerfed you could pull 20 mobs and kill them all. And it had never been that nerfed, even in Pandaria. And I just didn't like it. And other people liked it because they didn't really care about the leveling content at all. The leveling content was just something that they kind of spun their wheels through to get to raid content, which was what they were excited about. They didn't care about that stuff. They're like, I want to just raid. And that's when I realized like the World of Warcraft as a holistic thing is gone. You know, it was gone at that point. I remember this Total Biscuit video. It was during MOP where he's just realized he's like, World of Warcraft, it's just not a game for me anymore. And he had made his career like as a WoW podcaster. This is before streaming was really a thing. We didn't really have the tech back in 2010 to stream very well. But like it was, you know, he had this podcast for years and it's like, I'm moving on. Like I can't play this game anymore. It's just not for me. They've just watered it down too much. It's not fun anymore. It's not what it was. The bones are all wrong. And he moved on, you know. My only problem with Legion is you couldn't buy the legendaries you needed till the end of the expansion. Yeah, the random legendary drops, I hated that. Oh man, I hated that. It was just, you know, that level of RNG was just awful. And then having to level up your weapon. Oh my God, it took so long to level up that stupid weapon. And then they did the same thing in BFA. They're like, well, this is better because you get a talent tree for your armor. It's like, that's not better. That's so much worse. That's the worst idea ever. It's like, when you first do it, you're like, oh, this is cool. It gives me like, I can have a talent tree for my armor. And then it's like, but what if I have armor with better stats, but the talent tree's worse? I guess I can make a decision there, but it never was that. It was always just like, most of the talents are like, just does more damage. Click this, you know, you get this much Saronite or whatever, it just does more damage. Damage go up, number go up. Yeah, I liked Rian Johnson's Looper. It was okay. But it was actually really stupid. You know, the blunderbuss, like a single shot shotgun. It's like that was a really stupid idea. Like, why do they have dumb guns that don't work in the future? People just forget how, like, they still have cars, but they can't have a gun. Come on. Ridiculous. It's kind of like the, what was that movie? Alita. Right? They're like, guns are illegal in the future, therefore no one has them. It's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. So people are chopping their heads off with like laser swords because there's no guns, because the guns are illegal. Well, who's making them illegal? There's no government. It's just like a hand wave. Like, it's a hand wave of like, I think swords are cooler than guns and I don't want guns in my cyberpunk story. So we're just going to say that they're illegal because I live in Japan where guns are illegal and they're hard to get. Because I don't live in the rest of the world where guns may be illegal and not hard to get. It's like going, nobody does drugs because they're illegal. Yeah, class weapons are kind of class fantasy I can get behind. EverQuest had the epic weapons and they're very memorable and iconic. But we always had that in Warcraft, right? Like, you get every paladin has the Ashbringer in Legion. That's so dumb. Everyone's running around with the same stupid looking weapon. The whole point of having Ashbringer was that, like, getting corrupted Ashbringer was a really rare drop in vanilla. Really rare. I realized my music stopped. Yes. Video pause. Don't pause the video, YouTube. I want the tunes to go. You know, we had like the Rockdalar quest. We had the priest staff quest in vanilla WoW. We've always had this stuff, and you could continue to do that stuff. But legendaries were really legendary. They were really hard to get. You had the legendary mace in what was that, Wrath of the Lich King, and the legendary sword in Wrath of the Lich King. You've always had legendaries that were really legendary. But the idea that we're all legends, we all have the Ashbringer, we're all, yeah, oh my god, it's so dumb. But that started in Warlords of Draenor. It's like everybody is the commander of the Alliance. Everybody is the hero. Everybody has a garrison. You're the hero. It's like, we can't all be the hero. I liked it better in vanilla, where it was like, you're a peon that's not even worth talking to me. Get to level 50 and maybe you can do Alterac Valley as a worthless foot soldier, and you can work your way up through the ranks, and then my dialogue will say that you're Marshal, Grand Marshal or something, right? It just felt much better. The feeling, the RP, the role-playing feeling was just way better in vanilla WoW. It's like outlawing war and robot jocks. They use giant robots to fight for territory and resources. It's amazing how you can remember gear set names from a year ago. I can't remember what I had for lunch. Well, we thought about them a lot back then. We thought about them a lot. You know, we thought about them a lot. Benediction and Benediction. There was like a shadow benediction. Benediction could change into 2 weapons. There was like a holy benediction and a shadow benediction. But I think if you changed them back and forth, you would lose the enchantment. So people didn't do that. Yeah. Japanese katana is the single most dangerous weapon imaginable. All right, let me continue with this. Not underlying hunger, underlying anger. Dude, one of the last outlawed weapons in the public is now how karate began developing in Okinawa. I don't know about that. I can't tell you that for sure. I don't know. I don't know if that's how it developed. I've heard things about that with like the German Messer. The German Messer is this big long knife that you could have a knife or a dagger as a personal armament, but you couldn't openly carry a sword during various points in the Holy Roman Empire. So a Messer was a knife, but is basically a little sword. So that allowed people to go armed. But I don't know quite how true that is either. But I've heard that, like, that's an old thing of like, oh, these weapons like the bow and these were farming implements. It's like, I don't know, a staff has been a war weapon always, so, you know. Yeah, the German katana. The German messers are cool. You know. In Cyborg with Jean-Claude Van Damme, characters were named after guitars. Named Bill Gibson, John Fender, Harry Guild. What are some other brands? Big ones. Isaac Ibanez. That'd be fun. Oh, George Lowe. George Lowe died, huh? Sorry. Voice of Space Ghost. Oh yeah, I need to have... I was going to have... That's right. misspelling evil already. Yep, I didn't watch any of the Spider-Man movies. Haven't seen any of the new ones. Bobo's barking at? Let me go check. Let's see what this dog's barking at. Be right back. All right, I'm back. I think the dog was just lonely. Oh, it's spelled recognizable. There you go. There we go. I heard that the reason Miles Morales is so different from the comics in the Spider-Verse movies is because they already based Tom Holland's Peter Parker on Miles from the comics, which himself was just a race-swapped Peter Parker. So it didn't really... There's nothing super original about that to begin with. It's kind of patient zero of we're going to replace all the heroes with black children. What a weird thing to do across the board. Sorry, I'm using the Dutch spelling. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. All right, about out of time. All right, let me promote this this crowdfund. Funded in one day. We're at $1,285. Somebody pledged $1. Thank you. Whoever pledged $1 during this show. It was $12.84. Now it's $12.85. Someone pledged $1, and I appreciate that. Yeah. How many signed books are left? There are 24 signed books left. Let's see if we could sell the rest of those this month. So let me link that. It's your chance to grab a signed book from me, which is kind of rare. Right now, shipping is only to North America. I've had a couple of people ask about England. I think I can ship it for $18. That's why I didn't put England there. It's expensive. I don't know about the EU. I know George is in Greece. So if he wants to buy one, I'll figure out shipping to Greece. But yeah, if you're interested and you're overseas somewhere, let me know or send me an email, stu@dvspress.com, and I'll see if I can figure out shipping to that country. I don't want to list like just a random number for shipping because sometimes it really surprises me. I had someone want to buy a book from me from New Zealand, and it would have cost me like $50 to ship it to New Zealand, so I didn't do it. I was like, nah, dude, you don't need to pay $80 for a book. Just order it from Amazon and they'll get it there for $5, you know. So, yeah. There'll still be, infinite number of regular hardbacks, which will be good. So, yep. Let's, I think the regular hardback's only $27. And that's what I figured out I could kind of sell it for and be able to make a little bit of money. And, because shipping can vary. Sometimes it can be more depending on how much you're doing to Canada. So I'm not expecting too many people to buy it from Canada, but it's usually cheaper to ship to Mexico and Canada than other countries in the Americas, and certainly to Europe. So anyway, I'll look into that. If anybody is really wanting a signed book from Greece or to Greece, then I'll figure that out. It might be expensive though, so it's okay if you don't want to pay that shipping or want to wait for the Amazon book, which when it's live on Amazon, it'll be printed in Europe, so the price will be a lot lower, right? Be a lot lower. So anyway, that's it. I will. I'll see you all next time. This is almost done. We should be able to finish it this week, and then we'll move on to. I'll put it in the drawer, metaphorical drawer, and then we'll work on preparing the book for publication. I'll show you guys how to do all that, how to format the hardback, how to format the dust jacket, how I'll draw all the maps. We'll work on the super map. First, we'll work on the map for the book, then we'll work on the super high resolution map since I'll have more time to deliver that. And that's what we'll do. And then we'll come back to this and we'll edit it, and we'll do the whole publication process for this book too. It is a pretty epic book, and I'm pretty happy with it so far. We got to the end of all the battles, and now it's just kind of tying up all the loose ends. That's all we have left to do, and then this book is done, right? We had our last little aftershock of a battle. Had to deal with Lord Musil. I love that name. I don't know what I was thinking when I came up with that, but I like it. So that's it, and I'll see you all next time. Let me link the music channel again, too. In case you want to subscribe. I'm always trying to get more subscribers. There's only 276 subscribers. I'd like to get it to... I got past the first hump, which was 100. I'd like to get 500. That way I can get over 100 views per video. Metamucil. That's good. Now maybe that's where it was. Good old Musil. I'll name him after a bowel movement. That's good. All right. That's it. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day. Where's my regular camera? Yeah. All right. That'll be it. Please do back the campaign. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try to ship these things like in May. So I'll try to print them in April once I get the Kickstarter money, because it'll be hundreds of dollars to print them, and then we'll ship them at the beginning of May, and then after that, then we'll put them out on Amazon. Things will come out on Amazon, and people will get that. I'm not gonna make it live on Amazon before backers actually get their product. So have a great one, and I'll see you all next time.